Hello, everyone, and welcome to kind of a sad get-together, but you'll understand here in just a minute. Our guest on today's program, Dr. Larry Rice. Again, I can't tell you how grateful I am that you had time to do this.
Well, it's my pleasure, Sam. I've always enjoyed. You make this so easy, and let me hasten to say, I've been blessed to be here, but the university's in good hands. I've assembled a lot of smart people around me, faculty, staff, and then the direct reports. And the university's in good hands, and they will never know I'm gone, I don't think.
Oh, they'll know.
But I'm leaving it in a good shape. When you surround yourself with good people, good things happen. The enrollment's starting to really take off. We've added new courses and new programs, and so we're really in tune to what the workforce needs are. And so, but the university is just we've received we're toward the end of a 10-year accreditation. We're on track to get reaccredited. And 10 years is the most you can get, so we were very proud of that 9.5 years ago. And so but we got people in place that help with that, and we'll receive I'm confident, another 10-year accreditation.
You know, let me just lay something out here for you. I had one of those aha moments the other day. I sat up in the middle of the night, sat up in bed and thought, wait a minute, let me get this straight. Yesterday, I was 50. That's not bad, but today, I'm 80. What happened? Does that ever hit you?
Yes, occasionally, particularly when I try to lift up something. But I have a few aches and pains. I still think I can do whatever I did when I had a farm and all those things. But it does. Everyone always tells us it kind of creeps up on us, but it really does just kind of creep up without any knowledge. But let me hasten to say I've had a very blessed life, very little health issues, and I have been very blessed, and I've enjoyed being at this university. I think being at a university could possibly make you even think you're younger because of all the energy that the students have and all the events that go on. This morning we had a wonderful scholarship fundraising breakfast and raised over $40,000 scholarship for our students. But when you see how this campus continues to evolve, we're now in NCAA Division II, and I want to give a shout out to Coach Andrea Vaughn. She's the most winning.
I want to hear your thoughts. Yeah.
Most winning coach in our history. She's now over 300 wins, and she is a Rogers County Claremore lady. I mean, she grew up here. Her dad's a retired dentist who helps her coach, by the way, and so that's the kind of folks. And we have some wonderful, wonderful coaches. Coach Barkley's from Inola. People say, "Do you know Coach Barkley?" I said, "Well, yes, I even know his dad and his grandpa." So I do know him. And so we have many wonderful coaches. Coach Whitney is a local Claremore Zebra girl, and so we're just blessed to have, we got our baseball coach from OBU, and we stole him right out from under their noses at OBU. But we have just some wonderful track coaches and men and women's golf coaches, and Coach Larkin. I think he was here before I came. He is an institution in the soccer world, and so Derek Larkin is a tremendous asset. So we're blessed to have some really talented coaches who care, because they could make a lot more money somewhere else, but they chose to be here, and they understand that they're developing young men and women's hearts and minds, and that winning is not you need to win, but also they're building character.
One of the interesting things to me about your family, you told me back when I first started, I posed the question, how long do you intend to stay? Remember that?
I do.
Remember what you said?
I think I said 10 years or something like that.
You said, until I see my family go through the school here. I want them to go to the school. And they did. They
did. And I've got some grandchildren here today. So
no kidding.
Got 3 grandkids here, and they're doing well. And one of them, and I'll remind you real quickly this story. You did that interview, and you asked me priorities, and I said that my priority is going to be on the students. So my grandson, he was probably 7 or 8 years old, and he was watching this show that you and I had recorded with his other grandparents, and he got upset because he thought I had moved. He thought all television originated from California. So he got upset, and his other grandfather had to call me and say, "You need to talk to Riley. He thinks you've moved to Hollywood because you're on a television show and you're talking about other students." And so So we had that moment. We still laugh, and he's here at Rogers State today. So
My corner of the world has been pretty much the TV station since I came here. Yet I've seen it grow. I've seen good people come and go. I've seen students come in and work and learn hands-on, because it's a hands-on operation for the students that work here. And when they leave here, they go on to really nice jobs in the business.
they sure do. I think it's when you walk out of this television environment or radio, there's
Radio too.
they're waiting to hire you. And it does my heart good when I see our alums doing a news story on the local TV in Tulsa and winning awards and so forth. But that is the essence of why you should go to school. Is like I said earlier, to get into graduate school or join your career. And we've got evidence, and we're small, and we don't have every degree for all people, but we try to do things well, and we try to do niche markets. For example, we were the first one to have esports, and that's directed because Dr. Chris Ratcliffe, our athletic director, he came back from one of our conference meetings, and he said, these other states have esports, and so it sounded plausible, so we started, and so we've got some really good teams. We've won some national championships. I need to give Coach Craig Holden a shout out, because we've beat little schools like Texas Christian and University of Minnesota, and we're a pretty small school, but esports has helped put us on the. So we try to do things unusual. We try to be first to do some things, and I would love to have space to start men and women's wrestling. Women's wrestling is really a big item in all the big 5A, 6A schools, and most of those athletes do not have a place to go after high school. So maybe in retirement I can convince someone to help us get. We need a practice space for wrestling, but that would be Claremore's a big wrestling town, and Oklahoma's a big wrestling state, and so that would be a natural thing to add is wrestling, particularly both men and women's wrestling.
I just heard something come out of your mouth. You don't intend to stop working, do you? Even though you're going to retire.
I'm going to not have to take phone calls at 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. unless it's a grandchild or something. But no, being on call, and it is, and when you sign up, it's a 7-day, 24-hour, and very rarely is there any good news at 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. But it comes with the territory, and I've got a great group of administrators that help me. We've got a great police department, but there's just we're a reflection of society, so.
Well, I saw one of those aha moments today on campus. I pulled into the parking lot here behind the building, and there was a young woman, 18, 17, somewhere in that area, posing while somebody took her picture with the building in the background. And I thought, with this school's arrived.
Yes, the graduating seniors love to take pictures with these buildings. In fact, Meyer Hall and Markham is one of the two with the big post and the columns. But it's and the various trees and backdrops. They by the pond. The pond's a favorite place. There's a lot of folks like to have their wedding in the Carolyn Taylor Center, particularly on the east side where they can have the reception overlooking the pond. And so it's just. But no, our students. They could go to school anywhere, but many of them are, for lack of a better word, place-bound because of circumstances of life, and so they, thankfully, we're an oasis here for them to come and get refreshed and retool and take off, because there's just a need. That's why we were able to establish, why Stratton Taylor was successful in establishing this, is he could show that there was a need once you got beyond Tulsa for a 4-year baccalaureate degree. You got Tahlequah to the south, but there's a whole corridor that needed some higher education, particularly graduate level and baccalaureate level and graduate level classes. So.
Okay, I asked you at the very beginning of this conversation what you're most proud of. And then I just stood back and waited. And of course, you gave me a litany of things that you're proud of, accomplishments that you've seen bear real fruit.
Yes.
What has been your biggest disappointment here?
That's an interesting question. Probably not being able, the biggest disappointment right now is not having enough money to build the infrastructure that we need. And it's not a lot of money in the scheme of things, but right now we have been, COVID got in the way, but raising $25 million to build a new science, we desperately need a new science building. We've outgrown. All the area high schools have a more adequate science labs than we do. And we need, and so we're getting close to getting that funded. You know, we need facilities for our athletes. Now, we did go out and raise the money recently for an indoor practice facility for all of our sports that want to practice indoors. We raised we're going to have a very modest building down by the softball baseball complex where they can practice. But having the money for infrastructure, and we've been able, you know, there's nothing very exciting about replacing the roads, but we had to replace the drive all the way through campus. But the county commissioners have helped us, the cities helped us, and so, but just not having enough money to build out the infrastructure, to do the things that we need to do, to, you know, sometimes the state calls it deferred maintenance. We need to do some upgrades on some buildings. Now the one in Pryor, the Mid-American Industrial Park, built as a new campus, but we need to do some upgrades in the Bartlesville campus, and we need to do some upgrades. One of the most beautiful buildings, and we've put some COVID money in, is the Will Rogers Auditorium on campus. And so we've really improved it from you could use COVID dollars for anything to deliver classes. So a lot of the high-tech stuff that was missing in the Will Rogers Auditorium. But it needs a facelift. But science building is a priority, and I'm going to stick around and volunteer and beg and borrow till we get, and we're right on track. We could conceivably have it put to bed by early summer if all the pieces to the puzzle come together for the funding of the science building. But
what a major accomplishment that would be.
But we need it, and the people are generous, and they can see the fruits, as you call it, of the students who leave here and what they're doing, and so.
And they're everywhere. You meet them everywhere.
Everywhere. So, just this morning at breakfast, I met a young lady from Pryor that went through school here a few years ago, and today she has a doctorate in nursing, and she offices for out of Nashville for Ardent Health, but she still lives in Pryor. So, but you know, those are just, you know, the kind of stories that I love. Peggy and I one Sunday recruited a young lady out of Los Cabos who is either finished. I've got to check on her. She's either in her last year of medical school at the University of Kentucky, or she's in her residency. So I've got to check on her and remind her to come back and speak at one of these scholarships breakfasts. But she wasn't sure what she's going to do and where she's going to go to school, and I won't tell you her name, but we kept talking, and she, lo and behold, she shows up in the fall, and somewhere along the way, she wanted to be a nurse, and nursing faculty said, you know, if your scores, you should consider going to medical school. So she applied to medical school and got accepted to 3 medical schools the first time.
Is that right?
And she chose University of Kentucky because her parents had relocated, and so. But those are just. But there's a lot of other ones, whether it's in the law enforcement fields. One of our Claremore Zebras that went to school here, she is a Tulsa firefighter, and I'm very proud of her. And so it's just. We've got a lot of, I used to teach in the criminal justice program, so a lot of my former students are in law enforcement in various and sundry places. We're putting individual Sam with the National Security Agency. We're putting people with the FBI. I mean, like I say, if you and I would be fortunate enough to be around a few more years, our alumni is going to help put us on the map. A very wise man once told me that a great university is known by its faculty and its alumni, and our alumni are starting to put us on the map with their connections and the things that alumni do, and they help you. They build that reputation. They give back, and so it's exciting. And let me say that the Oklahoma Military Academy alumni, OMA alumni, are so generous. They're so faithful, and to scholarships, and they're the reason that we have military boots on the ground today, is because they would not take no for an answer. We got turned down for an ROTC. So we found out about the second lieutenant commissioning process through the National Guard. It's called Gold Officer Leadership Development. And they said, we will help fund that. And so we have the largest class, and I think the largest number of the second lieutenant prospects of the National Guard Gold Program of any school in the state. We've got 25 enrolled, and many of them already graduated second lieutenant. They've come back and teaching here, and so, but that OMA alumni, they're very loyal and they're very generous.
You know, you, my friend, are probably one of the best salesmen this school's ever seen.
Well, thank you. It's easy to sell something you love and care about. I love talking about this school. I love going to Rotary or any of those civic clubs because I could talk and talk and talk about this school. It's a special place. And that's why I've invested 27 years and will continue to be involved in some capacity until they haul me off and so run me off. But it's a special place. It truly is a special place. And
you know, I've often wondered, and I've seen you walking on campus. I've seen you at the cafeteria over here in pensive moments, and I've often wondered, where's his mind? What is he trying to solve now? You don't share everything with everybody. You hold it inside, which explains the gray hair.
yes.
But to see the kind of growth that you want to see is going to take some real shenanigans and some real arm twisting to make it happen. You've still got a lot of miles left on you.
I think so. I've been very blessed with good health, and you know, in fundraising, you have to make friends first. And so the other number I'll give you, I've been in higher ed for 44 years. And so along the way, if you treat people, and I've always tried to treat people, not that I've not made mistakes, but if you treat people right, more than likely, and you be good stewards of that first gift, they will keep helping you. And sometimes their donations and contributions will grow. And so and I won't tell you the gentleman's name, he's still alive, but we became friends, and he said, Larry, I'm not going to give you a lot of money. The state of Oklahoma is supposed to fund you. And I said, well, with all due respect, sir, they don't do a very good job. And so we've had different conversations along the way, and others encouraged him. And one day, his CPA called me, and he said, he's going to send you $1 million. And I said,
whoa.
First personal $1 million gift this school's had. We've had some corporations, we've had some foundations, but what an aha moment when his CPA called and he said, you know, he's going to send you $1 million. And I said, yes. And so
I'd like to have seen that little double back flip.
yes. One night I was leaving Oklahoma City in the rain, not fun driving the turnpike in the rain a few years ago, and I got a call from the H.A. Mary Kay Chapman trustees, and they said, we're going to give you $1 million towards that new cafeteria building. And I about run off the road, you know, because I said, but that was a real morale booster.
Yeah.
And so, and the Chapman Dining Hall is built today, but they were the largest donor. We had some other donors, let me hasten to say, but they said, we like what you're doing up there, and we're going to give you $1 million towards that project. And so but those are just, that kind of just lifts you up and motivates you and say, go out and ask for more money.
In your tenure here, are there things that you would have done differently?
Yes.
Such as?
I would have, for example, probably taken a different look at least one or two things that we built that we might have put off and built something else. I definitely would have brought in an outside, and we did bring in some outside enrollment management, but we didn't bring in the big guns. We didn't feel like we had the money, so we brought in a couple of lower cost, and they were okay, but they were not the giants. And so finally we bit the bullet and brought in Ruffalo Noel Levitt, and they've got a long track record, and they've been engaged in schools for many years, and so they've helped us turn this enrollment around. So I made a giant mistake once with conversion to a new operating system, Genzabar. Everyone told me how difficult it would be, and I didn't really think that or believe it because I'm not a high-tech kind of guy. But it was a disaster, and a lot of people just about worked themselves into a frenzy, and it impacted people's health and everything else. But we finally got it converted, and we're still learning. It's a Cadillac system. We just don't know how to turn all the knobs on yet. But
It'll come.
But I would have probably approached that a little differently, and maybe one of the mistakes I made there is that we were the first state school to adopt this system with the promise of the corporation that was selling it, that we would kind of be the poster child and that we would get all the resources we needed. And in hindsight, that didn't really happen that way. And so we've got a good product. It's just a continual learning of that product. But I would have definitely probably did that differently. I probably would have assigned some different priorities to maybe some of the building projects, and I would have raised more money.
I don't know if that's possible.
Well,
Given all you've done.
We hope so, but it truly has been a really fast 16 years, Sam, as you know. You alluded to it earlier. It just whooshes by. And
you get up one day, and where'd the time go?
Where'd the time go? And I didn't know. I don't even remember when my hair turned gray, but one day it just did. And so, but I'm convinced that being, as I said earlier, around the students, they boost your spirits. They have such energy, and then when you see those students walk across that stage, and you get to shake their hands, and they're beaming, and their families are beaming, and we're just a collection of society. Out there in that audience, there'll be people in coats and ties. There'll be people out there in overalls. There'll be people out there in sometimes Bermuda shorts or whatever. But we're just a reflection of the population we serve, and that is just an aha moment for many commencement speakers that I bring in.
We've got about 2.5 minutes left, Dr. Rice. And in that 2.5 minutes, I want to get from you some sort of a feel of, and I want the folks to hear this as well, do you have any plans to walk away and not continue to contribute to this school?
Absolutely not. Teachers' retirement requires you to take a 60-day break. That's just part of their rules. And so then after that, I can come back, I can volunteer. I will continue as long as I can to write personal checks to support this school, because my wife and I believe in this place, and we see not only our families' lives change, but we see other people's lives change. We see kids graduate debt-free. They're not kids, they're young adults. We see non-traditional students, 35, 40 years old, graduate debt-free and getting jobs at ConocoPhillips or wherever, whether they're in Bartlesville or Pryor. But sometimes they're single parents, they're working adults that are underemployed, but they have a chance to just kind of refocus and retool here and have a much better job when they walk out this door, and they can go part-time. A lot of our students, because of families and jobs and other situations they have, it takes them 6 years or more to graduate because they can't take 15 hours. They can only do it part-time because they're full-time working adults. They've got to get everybody else's schedule fixed first. They got to get the soccer schedule, the baseball schedule. But I have absolutely no intent of walking away, because with the 27 years, you just feel like that you've helped carve this place, and you want to keep supporting, not be in the way, but keep supporting and pushing and helping however we can.
Great answer. We have less than 30 seconds. I want to thank you for the time you've given Rogers State Public Television. I want to thank you for the support you've given the students here and saying, okay, let's try this, let's do this, let's do that. Yeah, go ahead. Because without that kind of attitude from the highest office on campus, you're dead in the water. And I know of what I speak because I hear it from other public television stations at schools around the country. This school, you've turned into a crown jewel, and for that you're to be recognized and thanked.
Well, I'm honored, and let me hasten to say what a privilege it is to have a full-powered public television. We're the only one in Oklahoma, and this is a real asset to Rogers State, to our state, and to our community. And what a pleasure it has been to watch this television station grow and expand and do the things we're supposed to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're out of time. Thank you for joining us, and good luck, everybody.